Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm African Gamer here. Hopefully you guys are doing great. So today's video, I actually wanted to mix a few things up and make a comparison video going over two of the biggest battle royales out right now, which is of course Warzone and Apex Legends. And if you do watch my channel, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you would know that I somewhat consistently post between both games. And I'm merely making this video for you to decide which game you'd rather main in a way. So yeah, stay tuned. So before I get into the comparison itself, I wanted to go over the 4 different categories I will be grading each game. The first being pacing, the second being update or the content that each game gives you, third being the style of game, and by that I mean the movement, just the graphical appeal, and also the base gameplay itself. And finally, balancing, such as the weapons, the map itself, just balancing all around. So yeah. So with that said, let's get right on into the first category, which would be pacing. I want to start off with Warzone here, and I believe Warzone is very well known for being an extremely slow-paced game. So if you are willing to play a longer match, let's say 30 minutes to 45 minutes for one match, I guess this game would be great for you because you land in 150 players on a huge map, and personally I'm not a huge fan of it. From what I'm seeing, that's why I don't necessarily play this game as much. But if you are into that larger spec style of battle royale, this is a great game to go for. You don't get into a huge amount of gunfights unless you yourself are pushing towards it. But in general, I mean, it's very slow paced. So if you're into that, here's a game for you pretty much. Now for Apex Legends, on the other hand, it's almost the complete opposite. When it comes to Apex, the pacing is pretty fast for a battle royale game from what I'm seeing. And I've played games like, of course, Warzone and also Fortnite. Apex plays pretty fast, and that's an amazing thing from what I'm seeing. Even if you drop like super concealed area where no one drops, you're gonna get into a gunfight in like the next 5 minutes for sure. So I mean, Apex, that's the main reason, or one of the main reasons why it's so enjoyable to many, because of how fast paced and action filled the game is. So in this case, when it comes to pacing, you can decide, but personally, since I like more fast-paced gameplay, a point goes to Apex Legends. Now for the second category, which would be update / the content that each game gives you. Let's start off with Warzone again. When it comes to Warzone, the content is pretty big, I'm not gonna lie, especially with Season 2 dropping the other day. Technically, it started live today. I mean, the content is insane. I mean, they have a bunch of weapons, right, that you can upgrade, level up, whatever you like, you can choose it pretty much. Also, the map saw somewhat of a change, a little change, but a change that is probably going to be huge later. Also, the input of zombies in Warzone is also another change to content. But in general, I mean, the content is okay, but from what I'm seeing, it's kind of bland because it's playing on the same map. It's almost been a full year since release, and they still have not changed the map to the point where it feels new or it feels fresh. So then again, that is a little disappointing. But with the implementation with Cold War, we see new weapons and possibly a new mode, which will be within zombies. So there's that for content in Warzone. Now Apex Legends, on the other hand, content is coming out frequently from what I'm seeing. For example, back in Season 7, which was last season, we got a whole brand new map. So it went from 2 maps all the way up to 3 maps, right? But we don't stop there. Now when we come up to Season 8, which is the current season that we are in, Season 8 introduced a destroyed Kings Canyon, and that is amazing in my opinion because it freshens up the feel of this map that's been here since Season 1, or pre-season I should say. And it's nice how they're putting out content on the map, but it's not only the map, they also put in events in game, and it honestly just refreshes. It's super refreshing because you don't just want to sweat and play out only for the battle pass when there are different events that are going on. I believe there are maybe 2 to 3 events per season, and that's awesome too. Also, in few rarities, they do introduce brand new weapons. Season 8, a brand new weapon came out, which is the 30-30 repeater. And honestly, so far, Apex Legends, when it comes to the content, is buzzing out, and it's super fun. Every day you get on, it's a new, refreshing thing to see. So Apex honestly gets the point for content. Now, moving on, let's go over the third category, which would be style. Of course, let's start off with Warzone again. Warzone seems to take more of a realistic stance on a battle royale with real-life weapons like the M4A1 or the quote-unquote Galil or just the CR56 AMAX. Other guns like the AK, I mean, you've seen this in real life. It's supposed to take a more, I guess, realistic look on it of nowadays. The graphics, in my opinion, are beautiful. They look great. The movement is just something else. When it comes to Call of Duty movement, this has got to be the best movement out there when it comes to Warzone and Modern Warfare, because it just feels so crisp. It feels so good, in my opinion. But when it comes to the style of Warzone, it's a really simple style. It's a casual battle royale style. Instead of just picking up weapons on the floor, though, you can start off like that. You get to choose your own loadouts in a loadout crate. Also, it takes a economic stance on things. What I mean by that is money is king in this game, you know? You drop in, you try to pick up as much money as you can, and you can buy so many things, such as a loadout drop marker to get your own loadout, or you know, another thing like a UAV or a self-revive kit, armor plate bundle. There's so much to do with it. Money is king in this game, and it takes more of a traditional, somewhat traditional style with a twist, of course, with the money. Now, Apex Legends, on the other hand, takes more of an Overwatch style, where each and every legend or character has their own ability, unique to them and them only. For example, I mean, the newest legend, Fuse, he gets a you know, a knuckle cluster, which is very beneficial to pushing enemies, or also Bloodhound, which is my favorite, who has a eye tracking ability, making him able to track enemies. And these abilities are very unique to each character, which makes the game just a little bit more interesting and more, I guess, risky in a way, to choose who you want to play as to get the win. But I mean, furthermore, the graphics are pretty good for this game. It's more of a cartoony game compared to Warzone, but at the end of the day, it looks pretty good for what it is, and the movement is the best movement ever. I mean, if you play Apex for a good 3 weeks to a month and then move to Warzone on the same exact style of you know, input, let's say you play Apex Legends on controller, you move to Warzone on controller, Warzone is gonna feel horrible. All right, Apex is the best movement out of every game. Trust me when I say that. It has just, it's so crisp, it's so good. You have to try it out if you haven't. But yeah, I mean, the point obviously is gonna go to Apex Legends because of its unique style. Not only that, but also the movement is just insane. The movement is way better than Warzone in my opinion, but you know, you guys tell me down in the comments below. Now finally, let's go over balancing. Balancing is where I go over the weapon balancing and, you know, the character balancing, just everything balancing in general, but more or less the weapons. So when it comes to Warzone, the balancing in weapons is in some cases very poor. For example, for those who have been playing Warzone ever since the Season 1 update with Cold War, or the very first update linking Warzone with Cold War, you will know the crazy thing with the DMR. The DMR 14 absolutely shredded people. I mean, it was like a one-shot, two-shot kill. It shredded people at range, close range. It was just the ultimate weapon to deal with, and you know, people would get like the easiest 20 plus kill games, right? And they aren't even pros, for example, or they don't even play the game that much. That's how shredded the DMR 14 is, and it took them a little while to get that fixed. I'm talking about the developers. But you know, the more of a bad thing, more of a negative thing would be the stim glitch. This was a horrible balancing issue with you know, stim glitch, where you could unlimitedly regain health in the storm. making it where you can just camp in the storm and get the easiest wins out of all. And it's very unfortunate that this balancing issue happens. And the more unfortunate thing is the fact that the developers don't seem to balance it as well, because once something is balanced, something else will be broken. So that's just a bad thing about Warzone in general, and that's just something to keep in mind. Now, finally, with Apex Legends, which is almost the entire, reverse of Warzone, the balancing in Apex is amazing. I mean, you can pick up any weapon. It could be the Spitfire, the Alternator, the Sentinel. You could even pick up a Longbow, which is one of the worst snipers out there, and you will get kills as long as you do good. This game is more of a game where you take skill, right? Instead of Warzone, which I'll go dive into that just a little later. But when it comes to Apex, I mean, it takes a little bit more skill, but all the weapons are balanced perfectly in my opinion. They do, switch a couple of things every update or every season, but those things are very minor, like switching a damage level from like 16 to 15. um, Although it does add through time, it is a very minor thing. You can still get kills with it. It's still balanced very well, and it's still very fun to use. And that's why Apex gets the last point when it comes to the balancing, because I've never heard of a balancing issue from Apex Legends. I can pick up any weapon. Anyone can pick up any weapon and feel familiar and good with it because it's just balanced very well. Now, in conclusion, all right, Apex Legends will definitely win which is best in 2021. I know this is more of a decisive thing for you guys, but after playing Warzone for a really long time now, like I would say since season 3, I've been playing season 3 and on, and honestly, it's been a very painful experience. I don't recommend playing Warzone. Honestly, I don't know why people find it fun. But when it comes to Warzone itself, it's a disappointing game. It's hyped up, but once you start getting into it, you start feeling it, you just don't feel it that much. Especially if you do not have Cold War, this is a game you want to definitely stay away with. But when it comes to Apex, I mean, Apex is the best game to go for. Best Battle Royale out right now. Everything is balanced. It feels really good, and it's just something you can get into very easily. So really, that's all I have to say. With that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like. Also subscribe. With that said and done, peace out.